Okay, today let's talk about how to select a botanical oil for your skin. And the way that we're going to start out, I'm actually going to share a few different botanical oils. So this is all in relationship to an upcoming workshop in Encinitas at the Wellness Clinic on blending your own botanical oils. Because when we're talking botanical oils, each one has different properties. There's really two key things that we consider when we're talking about botanical oils, like when we're talking about what their skin benefits are going to be. So thing one is the fatty acid profile. At this point, you've probably heard of fatty acids. There are three types of fatty acids: so saturated fats, monounsaturated fats, and polyunsaturated fats. And what's a fatty acid? Well, fatty acids never exist like by themselves anywhere. They're always associated, well, I say anywhere, that's not entirely true. In transit in the body, they may exist as the fatty acid. Generally, they're bound to something. So when you eat fats, they're bound to what is called a triglyceride. And this is basically a glycerin backbone that's got three different, let me hide my thumb here, three different fatty acid chains hanging off of it, okay? And these chains can be different lengths. They can be different degrees of saturation. So if you think of like the more unsaturated, so like a polyunsaturated fat has more areas of reactivity in it compared with a monounsaturated fat, which has 1 point of reactivity compared with a saturated fat, which has no points of reactivity. So it's a long carbon chain of varying lengths. And whether or not you have a carbon-carbon double bond to each other or not. And here, so I'm going to give you one example. I've written about this in a recent blog post and explained it one way. I'm going to give a different example here. When we're talking fatty acids, imagine that you get on a bus and every single seat on the bus is full. So you can't sit down, right? So you have to get off the bus and wait for the next one. Now, let's say you get on the next bus. There's one spot. There's one seat available. That's where you're going to sit. You, as the person entering the bus, have one place to sit. So that's the same with a monounsaturated fat. Okay. Like there's only one area of reactivity in that whole bus. Okay. Now imagine you get on a bus and there's lots of empty seats. That's a polyunsaturated fat. You can sit anywhere. You can bring a friend, right? Like you and your friend can probably both sit together. So that's a polyunsaturated fat. That's one of the best ways that I've heard of explaining it. I explain it a little bit different in this blog post that is linked below, I think. Pretty sure it's on this page. Anyways, I think it's linked below. And anyways, so we've got kind of two criteria when we're talking fatty acids. We're talking the chain length, so how long that carbon chain length is, and then the degrees of unsaturation. This all determines whether that fat, whether an oil is solid or liquid at room temp. So think of coconut oil versus avocado oil. This also determines how absorptive an oil is when you put it on your skin. It also determines its skin benefits. So here, when we're thinking in terms of comedogenicidity, so how likely is it to cause acne, the fatty acid profile is important. Now, thing two on oils that we have to consider when we're looking at their skin benefits is what are the quote unquote unsaponifiables. Now, this is a really long word that means when you use these fats to make soap, these are things that aren't reacted in that process, that aren't converted by the soap making process. That's all it means. So what are these things? Well, these are things like the antioxidants, so the vitamin E in oils, the beta carotenes or the other carotenoids, so vitamin A precursors in oils. These are things like chlorophyll. These are things like, for sesame oil, the antioxidant sesamol. Sesame oil is very rich in the antioxidant sesamol. For other types of oils, it would be whatever particular antioxidants that are like specific to those oils. So, I mean, definitely vitamin E, definitely the carotenoids, definitely chlorophyll. Trying to think of, there would be other phytosterols, which is basically like plant-based molecules that are similar in structure to cholesterol, would be other things that aren't converted in the soap making process. Okay, so now the other thing that I wanted to do is kind of give you a taste of what we'll be doing in the workshop. So to demonstrate that, and my apologies, this is like the best environment I have for, I tried to record this at my kitchen counter and it was like, it was weird to get me in the shot with like the oils. So here we are. Okay, so I'm going to give you an example. So look at the difference in color between these two. So this dark green one is hemp seed oil. This very light, almost like straw colored one is argan oil. So very different profiles, very different fatty acid profiles, very different like compounds in both of these. Hemp seed oil, rich in chlorophyll, argan oil, not so much, but rich in lots of other things. And then the other piece to this that I think this is so cool, both of these, surprisingly, are meadow foam seed oil. Now, meadow foam, if you're not familiar with it, it is a crop. It's kind of like a cover crop that's grown in the Pacific Northwest during the fallow times of the year. So they'll plant it, they'll till it into the soil when they're prepping it to plant, whatever crop they're growing for the season, and it kind of regenerates, revitalizes the soil. It's also, meadow foam seed itself is phenomenal in skincare. I mean, phenomenal in skincare. I adore meadow foam seed oil. The difference between these two, this one is completely unprocessed. This one is filtered. Okay. For all of the face care products here at Rain Organica, I use the unprocessed one. It is significantly cheaper than the filtered one. How is it filtered? By a physical process. The typical, lots of oils, meadow foam seed oil, I don't really know why they do this. I just know that they do this. Shea butter, to give you for instance. They do it because shea butter itself has such an incredible, intense scent, and it's not necessarily pleasant. It's one that, like, if you use unrefined shea butter in like body mousse, body whip, for instance, you got to use a lot of essential oil to cover up that natural fragrance. Now, sometimes like you want it to come through, like sometimes it will build and layer and just like do incredible things to the essential oil blend, but it's intense. So for that reason, like it's very common to have like shea butter and several other types of butters and oils be what is called RDW, stands for refined, deodorized, and whitened. And surprisingly, all of these are actually physical processes. Sometimes refined, they will heat the oil, sometimes not. There's different ways of refining it. This is something I talked about briefly in a previous podcast episode, I believe, with it's either the one that I did with Kate O'Donnell or the one that I recorded with Angela Perger at Simple Ayurveda, where we talked a little bit more in depth about refining. Not going to go down that track here, but sometimes that does require heating the oil. The other two, the deodorizing and the whitening, are physical processes. This is like a physical filtration process. So what you were looking at, this difference actually between these meadow foam seed oils, this one is super rich in carotenoids, which gives it that bright orange color, and also vitamin E. This one is likely still rich in vitamin E, not so rich in the carotenoids. Those are less oil soluble, those are the ones that are kind of getting removed in that filtration process. Again, I'm not 100% sure why they do this with meadowfoam seed oil. I just know that they do, because even the unrefined meadowfoam seed oil, like there's no real scent off of it. Now, I forgot my dropper. So what I'm going to do is demonstrate. Let's see here. So this is unrefined meadowfoam. This is argon. And I will show you this here in just a second. And this is hemp. So in our body oil workshops, what we do is actually put a drop of each, and we typically apply with a dropper. And then with a different finger, you take and slide it across. So you've just made like a streak. So you think of like anytime you've seen lip color where they streak it across to show the difference, you do the same thing with your oils. And what's incredible is that you can feel a difference in the skin slip and how well it goes onto the skin. You can feel a difference in the absorptivity of the oil, like hemp seed, and like just doing that here, hemp seed goes in like that. Meadowfoam goes in rather quickly, and the argon leaves kind of this coating on the surface of the skin. And what this lets you do is really play and figure out like which skin feel you like the best. And there's like different benefits for each. So then you get to choose, okay, like based on the skin feel, some people are based on the scent, actual scent of the oil, because some oils do have a little bit of a smell. Again, the shea butter, which I don't normally bring to these workshops because it's a butter, not an oil. The shea butter is the one that really, really, really has a strong smell. Most of the other ones that we're working with fairly routinely do not. For face workshops, I'll bring along cucumber oil, and that one smells intense. That one smells really strong of cucumber. So, so yeah, during these workshops, you actually get to blend your very own custom 4-ounce lotion, which, to give you an idea, let me do the math in my head, is about this size. So right here, if you can see 120 mils, that is about 4 ounces, 30 mils per ounce. So you mix up your very own body oil in this case, which again, about that much body oil. And then you get to play around with aromatherapy. So we actually blend our very own essential oils. And if you're like, well, I don't have like the nose to do all this, Brandy, you're given some guidelines. We go through the basics of natural perfumery and the basics of top notes, middle notes, bottom notes, and then like an idea of how some aromatherapists say to blend, like how many drops of base, how many drops of middle, how many drops of top. And then you're completely wide open to do your own thing. And I have yet to be at one of these workshops where somebody has blended up something that's just absolutely awful. That said, if you're worried, there's options of like I'll be bringing along some essential oil blends that smell amazing, and so you're able to select from those and actually blend it into your body oil as well for your very own customized body oil that feels incredible. Like one of the other things we do at these workshops a lot is I just like people have a chance to ask me all of their questions. And so it's a lot of times like, what can I do for flaky legs? And I dish on what I've done, like what I've discovered, because flaky legs have been the bane of my existence for a really long time. And I finally feel like I am on the other side of it and have been for a while. And so just sharing that information, sharing what to do for adult acne, um, sharing what to do like for under eye circles or for like to support lymphatic drainage in your face. I'll show you like some basic manual lymph drainage techniques. So these workshops are incredible. If you are in the next one, so I'm going to tell you about the next one. This probably, just let you know, if you're watching this later date, this will probably be where the video looks like it's spliced and I add in the new information because that's exactly what's happening. Okay, For now, the next one is Friday, August 2nd at the Wellness Clinic in Encinitas. So this is across the street from Yoga Tropics. They're on 2nd Street, like kind of right behind the main drag in Encinitas. It is from 5:30 to 7:30 at the Wellness Clinic in Encinitas on Friday, August 3rd. The sign up link is below. For this one, we are offering an incredible deal, buy one, get one. So you buy one ticket, you bring a friend for free. I hope to see you there. If you know someone who would love to do this, share this link with them. All right, I'll catch you in another video. Bye.